I guess two comments. One, there's a copy machine at our hospital that has a sign posted there that says it smells fear. So in other words, be careful, right? So your anesthesia machine is the same way. So I got to train on the old narcomeds,
Right.
and the intuitive sense on those machines are a lot better than they are now. So is there any thought about these machines, and I don't know what it would take in terms of transducers to be able to put things, to know where your flow is going, so that when you're standing in front of the machine and it's just failing and you're trying to figure this out, that you can essentially flip on a monitor that says this is where the gas flow is going and this is what may be stuck, and you know how a printer kind of walks you through,
Right.
open this first,
Right.
check that, and is that possible?
Yeah, I think quite not the full set. What you described reminds me of the system that Dwayne Westenskow built
Yes.
way back, which was an expert system. He added a lot of sensors which were not intrinsically part of the anesthesia machine to do that. So I think I think it's doable, but hopefully without adding a lot more sensors, because I think one of the reasons GE didn't like that approach was when you add more sensors, you add more opportunities for failure, right? Or at least that's what I was told. And those sensors too are expensive. Like a sensor to measure 2,000 psi of oxygen, that's a very expensive sensor because the pressure range is much higher than a regular sensor. But that's a great idea. Yeah, because I appreciate it on printers, and it would be nice to have it on anesthesia machines too.
I'd love to have now. I mean, if I'm practicing anesthesia now, I'm jet lagged like I am right now.
Right.
You're trying to figure this thing out, and patients not doing so well. It's tough.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely right.
I'm sorry. In the interest of time, I don't. Do you want to have one more question, Jan?
Very short. Okay. Three things. First of all, thank you very much, because your simulation helped me pass step B in my examination many years ago. I don't know how much. Second, since there are so many sources of errors and problems in the anesthesia machines, what would be your suggestion? To have in a hospital, in all the operating room, the same model of anesthesia machine, so that people moving from room to room don't have to, where is a switch here, where is a switch there? That's second. And third, whenever we have a broken car with an accident, we go to the garage, they put the computer immediately and they say where it is. The anesthesia machines do this automatically when we start the day, but if something happens while we are in the middle of the case, or as you said, the resident is alone at night, you don't have all the time where it is, where is the problem. Wouldn't it be wise to have some sort of a similar device just to connect it, and it shows you not what the error is, but also where it is, so you can fix it immediately?
Answer to the third question, it's possible, but that's really, I'm not a representative of a manufacturer. I think there are representatives from the manufacturers here, so I'd be happy to work with them to build that for them. The second question, whether you should have only one machine or more, I think you should have more than one machine, because if they just remember how one machine operates, you're reducing a physician, an anesthesiologist, to a technician. He or she is working by rote memory, is essentially what you're implying. I know at MGH at one time the way they handle this, because the flip side of it, if you have too many machines, there can be mode confusion. What MGH did at one time, they had multiple machines, but the CO2 absorber was standard. And in those days, you could get away with it because the machines were very similar, really. It was stylistically different, but substantially the same. So the CO2 absorber was standard. Even though it was Draeger, I believe it was a GE or Omida CO2 absorber, because that was the part where they thought the danger for error was most. But the rest was, they had a mixture of machines. Thank you.